as a younger professional, I didn't want to show up in spaces and feel like or present like I didn't know what I was talking about.
So I think the more you can make people comfortable that, hey, you know what? Like, let's just try it. And if we fail, we're going to fail together, by the way. There is no finger pointing.
Right.
It may not work, and that's okay.
Yeah. I subscribe to that. But I think it is a workplace culture that empowers people to feel like they can try new things, embrace change.
100%. Because I think people can talk that talk, but then, hey, something didn't work. Yeah. And then it's like, well, what did you do wrong?
Right.
Well, what did the team do wrong? Well, and then you're like, oh, like, I mean, well, forget that. Like, I'm not going to try that again. Like,
Yeah. Let's be honest. When it comes to a thriving career, we're all still figuring it out. Welcome to the Still at Work podcast. On this show, we take questions about navigating the workplace and work them out together. I'm Kim Taylor, head of diversity, equity, and inclusion at Coursera, and I'm your host. Let's get to work. Hey, learners. I'm thrilled to welcome today's guest, Amanda Clark. She's the CEO of WellBiz Brands and a Coursera Board Member. Amanda is so great that I even asked her to help me out on a few more episodes this season. Let's get to know her a bit.
Well, as you said, yes, I'm the CEO of WellBiz Brands, and we own such brands as Dry Bar, Elements Massage, Radiant Waxing, Fitness Together, Amazing Lash. So all brands in the beauty and wellness space. So it's a really fun space. And before this, I worked at Papa John's for about 4 years. I was the chief operating officer for the international business, started as the chief development officer. So that's a bit about me professionally. Personally, I have an 11-year-old son, soon to be 12, in that very interesting tween kind of phase.
Oh man, tweens. Today's question is about change, and I don't think we could bring in a better person to talk about it. Amanda has held leadership positions at a lot of large companies that have experienced major upheaval and growth, like Papa John's. She's also worked at Procter & Gamble and Taco Bell. In this episode, she also draws on her experience as a mom to a tween, something I can relate to. So, without further ado, here's our anonymous listener question. I have noticed an increase in defensiveness, reluctance to change, and an unwillingness to innovate among my colleagues. I am committed to creating a learning environment where my colleagues feel comfortable taking risks, experimenting with new ideas, and growing their skills. I would appreciate your guidance on how to best address the concerns of my coworkers.
Wow, I want to listen to the podcast so someone can give me that advice. But unfortunately, I guess I have to talk about it. Oh, man. I'm someone who absolutely believes in change. I thrive in change. I love change because I think without change, things are just boring. But sometimes we have to recognize that not everybody likes it. Some people crave the idea of stability and consistency, and there's nothing wrong with that. You always need those people on your team. So sometimes when you come in and you're trying to affect change very rapidly, those are the types of personalities that are going to naturally push back against that because they're coming from a place where that feels like instability. It feels unsafe to them. It feels uncomfortable. And it's not because they don't want to. That's just more of their personality type. And, we just have to explain the agenda a little bit more and give people a little bit more time to digest the message or the vision that you're trying to convey.
I think you're highlighting an important piece of how to be a good leader. It's not only leaders who help to facilitate change, but understanding that there are different personality types. I am the same way. I love change. But as a leader, I may have people on my team that feel sort of, as the person who wrote the question said, a loss of control over their daily work. Being a parent has helped me tremendously in life, but also in business and in my profession. Because realizing sometimes that you have to just slow down and help people to understand. I've had to do that with my children. We have a 9-year-old and we have a 16-year-old. And the 16-year-old is now fully a teenager. And there are things that, as you said earlier, I want to say, why can't you just understand this? Why can't you just move forward and do this? But then I have to, sit back and think, as an adult, did you understand it in the same way when you were 16 years old? So I think some of this translates into the workspace, but I fully feel for those who do feel that loss of control, especially when change in the workplace is happening and there isn't a ton of transparent communication around what's changing and why. I think that can knock people off their center.
Yes.
So I think that the communication is also a really important piece of the discussion.
Yes. Well, bringing it back to your parenting example, right? Prime authoritarian parenting is like, well, go do this because I said so. Mm-hmm. Certainly there are bosses like that. Well, go do this. And there is no explanation of the why. So it is very important to explain why. So if you think about different types of change in the corporate environment, they could be organizational change, right? I had to do major organizational change when I came to Papa John's. We did some organizational change here to realign different functions with different leaders. That's an example of change in corporations. Now, one way of doing it is just to send out an org announcement and say, well, these people now report to these people. Another way of doing that is saying, well, yes, these people now report to these people, and here's why. Because their skill set matches better to these people, or these people are now reporting to the CEO, as an example, because this aligns with the priorities of the CEO and where we need to focus the organization.
Yeah.
But just making a major organizational change in the corporate world and not explaining the why, that's the kind of change that could be really scary and unsettling for people. Whoa.
A question that I see here is, why are people scared of change? Why does it make them feel like they're losing control?
Well, they kind of already psychoanalyzed it. I'm impressed with that. Yeah, the loss of control. It was like, oh, okay, I didn't really think about that. When you are, you know what you need to do, you've gotten comfortable with it, I know how to work on this project and I know what to expect. And now all of a sudden I have to focus on something else. Well, that may be uncomfortable for me because I may not know it as well, right? I may not be an expert in that.
Right.
So if I'm not an expert in it, I might be afraid that I'm going to fail. So I might be afraid that I will fail. So there is that fear potentially of, well, gosh, I don't know this as well as my other things. So what if I'm not good enough? So I think that could be, an underlying motivator as well.
I am definitely less prone to be afraid of not having all the answers now as I grow in my profession and in my career. But as a younger professional, that was a fear. I didn't want to show up in spaces and feel like or present like I didn't know what I was talking about.
The more you can make people comfortable that, hey, you know what? Like, let's just try it. And if we fail, we're going to fail together, by the way. There is no finger pointing. We're all in it together. I think that is very freeing for an organization. We're going to try this strategy. We're going to try this innovation. And you know what? It may not work, and that's okay.
And that's a cultural thing, I think, that you're describing. You have the freedom to go through the motions and the emotions that go along with change, but feel okay doing it. Feel some stability in your instability because your leaders, your managers, your peers, everyone is encouraging exploration and the shifts, and knowing full well that maybe this won't go the way we expect for it to go, but we want to push forward anyway.
100%, 100%. Because I think people can talk that talk, but we've all been there. Well, maybe not all of us. I've been there. That, has had the boss that said that, but then, yeah, hey, something didn't work. And then it's like, well, what did you do wrong? Well, what did the team do wrong? Well, and then you're like, oh shit, like, well, forget that. Like, I'm not going to try that again. Like, that kind of attitude prohibits growth, and it just tampers down innovation.
Yeah.
You have to be open, and you also have to say, like, we're in it together. There is no you, it's we.
Yeah. Is change sometimes bad?
Sure. I mean, when there's too much of anything, right? As the old adage goes, like, yeah, it can be bad. If you're changing your strategy every month, that may be a sign that you don't know what direction you're going in. So I would say, yeah, too much change can be a sign of instability, and it can burn people the hell out, and it can also make them not take you too seriously. Like, I don't know if this chick knows what she's saying.
Yeah. I'd be interested to hear from your perspective. When you were at Papa John's, I think there were times where Papa John's, had a lot of headlines in the news, and there was like a shift in the culture. How, as a leader in an organization, do you facilitate, that change, and ensure that your direct reports and their teams and their teams are all moving in the same direction at the same time? Is there, a formula? Is there a magic button that you push? Or, how have you experienced that and had to work through it?
Well, that was difficult. I mean, to be fair, I came after some of the controversy, but I think even though I came after that, I would say that the culture wasn't the most inclusive, wasn't prone to innovation, new ideas.
In case you didn't see the headlines we're talking about, here's some context. Papa John's founder and chairman of the board had to step down after he admitted to using discriminatory language.
When I came, I guess I had thought, it's been maybe 2 years and maybe things have changed, but it really hadn't. So I pretty quickly needed to figure out if, you're right, if people were going to be in the boat or they were going to be going against the direction that I wanted to go. So I came in as a chief development officer. This is what we need to do. This is the growth that we need to drive. This is like, wow, that's a big change. And you got to pretty quickly find out who is going to be your, sort of your truth tellers and the people who are going to say, okay, like, I can support your vision, but let me tell you, like, these are the kind of things that you're going to need to do differently. So they're not just going to be the people who are like, okay, Amanda, like, everything you're saying is right. They're going to say, I got where you're going, but let me tell you a couple of, watch outs. Then there are the people who are kind of your, okay, I got it, I can get in the boat and row. And then there are the people who are actively going to work against you.
If people fundamentally disagree or have different philosophies about the work that you're doing, I think it's important to talk openly about that and create space for people to say, hey, maybe this isn't for me, or maybe this is where we kind of part ways or go in different directions.
And by the way, like, you can work with people and not like all their ideas. One of the people that I trusted and had the longest relationship with at Papa John's, who was, I would call a truth teller, he would tell me all the time that some of my ideas were idiotic.
I think those are the best people to have around. I mean, you need a few people that are going to like just always be cheering you on because it makes you feel good. But it's best to have the people around that are going to say that was a stupid idea.
Yeah.
And it causes you to pause and to think, as the DEI lady, as I sometimes call myself, that's where diversity impacts innovation. I think having different minds, different perspectives, all in a space working on similar problems, driving towards solution means that you'll come out with a better product because, Amanda and Kim might agree on every single thing that comes across the table. But if we throw someone in there that has a different perspective, then we've got some things to think about.
I was thinking about a little bit how to foster even a culture of innovation. And per what you were saying with DE&I, I do think having people on a team who think differently is key to fostering a culture of innovation, because, if everybody thinks the same, they're going to come up with the same stuff.
Yep.
To create more of a culture of innovation, if people are constantly in the weeds and constantly just doing their job and heads down and at their computers and not collaborating, and it's very hard to drive innovation.
Yeah, I would imagine that any environment where, like you said, people are constantly heads down, there's not a ton of innovation, everyone is very similar background, similar mindset. Any little thing that you introduce that deviates even a bit from, the day-to-day is going to feel big and scary and like change.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So the further we allow our teams to go down this path of, we hire people that look just like us, that come from the same schools, that have worked in the same places, that have the same frame of mind and point of references, we get so comfortable. At that same time, we are losing innovation. We are losing creativity. And so I think that it's important to, again, call out how impactful diversity is in these spaces, because you bring in new ideas, you bring in new perspectives. Everything won't feel so scary because you're used to it. I'm used to working with people who are going to challenge my thought process and cause me to rethink what I think are the best solutions. So I'm going back to look at the question. Have we discussed, this person was asking about, an increase in defensiveness and reluctance to change and an unwillingness to innovate. It sounds like they were talking about the behaviors that they are witnessing from their peers, and how to approach their peers and help to ease that transition. So any advice, as a leader, even as a CEO, to people who are in it and feeling the growing pains of change and who are on board but see their peers maybe struggling a little bit, any advice that you would give to them to say, hey, this is how you can help the people around you to sort of drive through these periods and still innovate and produce?
Yeah, I mean, I think just to recap, I think it goes back to explaining the why. Why do we need to change? Making it safe for people, right? We're in this together. If we try something and it fails, it's okay. We're going to move on. And it's not you, it's us, right? It's we. So people don't feel like, oh God, we tried and I suck, and making it a safe space. And then with innovation linked to that, I don't know that people are just actively say like, oh, I hate innovation. They're probably thinking like, oh my God, I don't have time. I don't have time to do this, or this is going to require a lot of work. So how do you open that space up for them? How do you give them space to innovate? Is it, you know what, we're going to do a happy hour brainstorm. We're going to go out to lunch and talk about X, Y, and Z. We're going to have a moderated innovation session, and that's what we're going to do. Give them the space to do it. Mm-hmm. I think is key, because again, we all get bogged down in the day-to-day, and that's really what hampers, I think, innovation, creativity, and to some ability that it drives that reluctance to change.
All right, that's a wrap. Key takeaway: if we're going to change or innovate, we need to know why. Fostering a culture of transparency is important, but so is doing it afraid. Thank you all for joining me on this episode of Still at Work. And thanks to Amanda for joining us and to our listener who submitted such a great question. Do you have questions about how to navigate your workplace and everything that goes along with that? We can help. Go to the form in our show description to submit your question. While you're there, please don't forget to subscribe to our podcast, Still at Work, wherever you listen to podcasts. You can also rate and leave our show a review to help others find us. That's it for today's episode. We'll see you soon.